Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there. Welcome to New Life Live. Really glad you're here. If you want to join us on the program, here's that number, 1-800-229-3000. 1-800-229-3000. We're here for 2 hours. Joining me, Dr. Jill Hubbard. Hi, Jill.
Hello, Steve.
And Dr. Jim Burns. Jim and Jill, Steve here. Jim, good to see you.
Good to see you, and good to see Jill.
Yeah.
All right.
And, of course, we're going to be doing the Courageous Parenting with Jim, doing life with your adult children and adjusting and adopting to that. And Jill's going to be with us on that too. It's going to be a great time. April 1st is when we're going to be doing that. So I hope you'll join us for that if you've ever had a little difficulty with an adult child, which seems to be the new epidemic going around. Jim, you've written the book, Doing Life with Your Adult Children. I think it's a great book. Well, what do you think is the biggest misconception that people have in dealing with their children that are supposed to be acting like adults?
I actually think, and there's a lot of answers for this, but I think one of the big surprises is that they think their kids aren't going to violate their values or stray from their faith. And the truth is that most parents I know have at least one kid who's, violating the values that they grew up with and straying from faith.
Yeah, no question. I was at my men's group Monday night. One of the guys there just said, 31-year-old son just instantly says, nope, I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. And he's a believer. That's just tragic.
Heartbreaking.
Well, if you come to our Courageous Parenting about your adult children, we guarantee you that will not happen. Okay, maybe we can't guarantee that, but it's much less likely it's going to happen if you'll let us work with you there. If you want to join us here, it's 1-800-229-3000. When we come back from the break, Karen from Long Beach, that's who we're going to go to. In the March 1st intro in the One Year Bible for Women, Misty writes, a most commonly jested and commiserated syndrome among women is the fear of missing out. And in a multitude of realms, the struggle is real. We fear missing out on coffee with friends or missing out on opportunities at work, missing out on precious moments with a loved one. But there's yet another level in the fear of missing out, and this one is far more serious. We share it in common with generations of God's people, and it begins the very moment we are given restrictions. Fixated on apparent deprivation and loss, we naturally miss the inherent provision. Restrictions are in place for our benefit, like a traffic light. As God had set apart the Israelites to be His chosen people, He instructed them on the path toward blessing and fulfillment, but the fear of missing out repeatedly led to rebellion. We too are deeply loved, and as believers in Jesus, we've been set apart and instructed on the best path. He even modeled for us how to live connected to the Father, reliant upon the Spirit, and in step with the Son. If ever we rebel by indulging fear, may it only be the fear of missing out on God's best. That is
so good. And it's so true. The FOMO is real.
Well, she's a great writer, and that's in the One Year Bible for Women. She just did a blog for Tyndale that started with BAM. A woman shutting her Bible because what she read is just too difficult to comprehend. She's on a mission to help every woman understand why those difficult passages are there and make sense of every one of them. All right, we're going to go to the break, go to Karen after this, but if you want to join us, 1-800-229-3000. Dr. Jim Burns, Dr. Jill Hubbard, Steve Arterburn here. We love taking your calls, so give us a chance to do that.
I've had a weight problem my entire life. I learned to use food as something to comfort myself. Subconsciously, I was hoping for a magic wand.
You can lose weight and keep it off for life, but it involves more than just the latest fad diet or exercise machine. If the underlying emotional, spiritual, and physiological issues aren't addressed, the weight returns.
I had tried various things. I tried 12-step programs. None of those approaches were quite like what I heard at Lose It for Life.
The Lose It for Life online workshop deals with all of these aspects with its intensive, comprehensive, and interactive curriculum. This online workshop features Zoom sessions presented by Steve Arterburn on Saturday, March 18th, plus 4 small group process sessions facilitated by a credentialed New Life Network counselor. And fitness expert Michelle Spadafora will lead exercise sessions. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. The phrase, the technical term for fear of missing out, of course, is FOMO.
Yes.
And our job here is NOMO FOMO. We want to help to that end. Let's go to Karen, Long Beach, California, KKLA. Karen, you are now on.
Good morning.
Hi there. How you doing?
Good morning. Hi. I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. I mean, when I'm doing this with Dr. Jill and Dr. Jim, and Dr. Jack is our videographer, it's a wonderful way to go. And we have competent people to help you here. Now, how could we help you?
I have listened to you for so long, I feel as though I know you guys. You're wonderful, with great wisdom.
Thank you. How could we help?
Yes. I am a believer, and I have been for a long time. Was raised Catholic, and I have a large Italian Catholic family. And my situation is mostly with my mom right now.
Okay.
We live in Southern California. My parents are in Northern. We try to get to see them every couple of months. We went up in October, and my parents were divorced, and it was a very vicious divorce.
Okay.
About 30 years ago. My mom is 82, and she has increasingly gotten more bitter and angry to where we've had to have kind of boundaries set where we can't speak about my father, our relationship with him, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
When we went up in October, but I have told her that I will never lie. If she asks me a question, I'm going to answer, but I will never put it in her face, intentionally.
Yeah.
We went up, we went to dinner. My mom asked me about the location that we had to have dinner at, how I found out about it, and I said I had taken my father there for his birthday. My parents live about 20 minutes apart, but I've never been able to even see both of them in the same visit. It's just so hostile. So about 2 days into our trip, I am on the phone with a girlfriend. My mom comes out and just has a burst of anger, starts throwing things at me. This was 2 days after the dinner and after her finding out that I had taken my father to dinner. And it was such a severe, it was so violent, it felt demonic.
Yeah.
And
okay.
it was bigger than anything I've ever dealt with my
Right.
mom. And so I'm getting emotional even talking about it because it was a very painful act on her part.
Right.
So
what could we help you with? What do you want us to help you with given this?
We have had email communication only. And this is a mom that I've talked to a couple times a week in the past. And
Right.
So
how can we help you with that?
Not go.
What's
Yes.
that?
So I didn't go for Christmas. I have stayed away physically because I have felt that through prayer is what I've needed to do. I am kind of at a loss on how to have reconciliation and how to set boundaries with my mom at this point. I've done a deep dive into like narcissistic behavior, and I feel that she's textbook, though I'm not one to diagnose that. But
Okay,
it's
so
kind of
stick
scary
with what
how
you
much-
want us to help you with. You want
Yes,
us
I
to
need
help you
knowing
with.
how to reconcile. Yes,
Okay.
how to have the difficult conversation and set boundaries where I don't put myself into a situation that's unhealthy.
Okay. Jill,
So-
let's start with you.
Okay, so Karen, you've been emailing her and not talking to her.
Yes.
Has she noticed the distance and the change? And is there any mention of why there's a change? And does she?
It was very clear.
Okay,
She
okay,
kicked us out of her home, and we left 2 days early. It was very violent, and my husband witnessed it as
Okay.
well at the end.
okay.
So, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you been able to express any concern for your mom that instead of her healing from this after so many years, that the anger seems to be intensifying? And really, what
Yes.
what is
We
she
expect-
wanting? Does she expect you to sever all ties with your father?
That is such a good question, and that is the question I asked to her.
Okay.
What is the outcome? What is the outcome you'd like to see? And her response is that we don't protect her.
Okay.
We've protected her for decades from many broken relationships. This is a pattern in my mom's life. She has siblings that she hasn't talked to in 30 years. We've had many situations where
So she's
she
always the
doesn't have-
victim and doesn't see her part.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And my sister has stayed with her through this, though my sister and my mom didn't speak for 8 years, and I was the peacemaker. My sister has stayed close to her during this, as I have asked her to, because I knew it was going to be very painful for her. And it's gotten escalated from my sister's perspective.
So we want to
That
help
She's
you.
the victim.
So
We want to
then-
help you make the best of a horrible situation. What do you think is the best?
Well, one of the
she
things
could do?
I'm wondering is, have you had your mom evaluated for cognitive decline? Because it is true that as years go on, right, it's like our life comes back around full circle. And especially if there's some decline, the feelings are going to be more intense and she has less control over her emotions. So I think medically to have her checked out would be a really important thing to do, because you do see with people with cognitive decline or even mild dementia, the anger starts and intensifies.
So how is she going to get this mother that's so angry to agree to an assessment? What do you think would be the best strategy?
Well, you may, if your sister is more in relationship with her, you may have to work with her. I mean, I'm assuming that she has a doctor, or you could inform her doctor and say you have these concerns. I think you can always give doctors information. They can't necessarily tell you anything back, but you certainly can give them information. And so I would be talking to your sister about, okay, how can we get information to Mom's doctor, so when she comes in for her annual checkup, or every 6 months, that he's aware of these issues happening.
Very, very good advice there, sister
Yeah,
to
that's
the
great.
doctor, and that's probably the best hope of that assessment. Jim, what's your thought here?
Well, the positive side to an assessment is also there could be some medication that could help her and whatnot. Now, again, she has
Or is she on medication
right.
that's causing
no,
this
that's,
as
you're
well?
exactly right. It could be the medication, and that's something
No,
that you and your sister
she
can
is
learn
not.
from. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So actually, there may be some medication that could help her. The thing I was going to say, and it's a phrase, so Jill takes the clinical side. I'm going to take almost the pastoral side, and on this one, I would just simply say there's a phrase that says, "Protect your family, honor your mother when you can." And so you want to protect your own self. You want to protect your husband. You want to, and when I say protect, I'm talking about the emotional side. She's angry, but I doubt if she's going to,
Right.
do something to you physically. But protect your soul. Protect your own self. At the same time, honor her when you can. She sounds like a person that, would say, well, I drank some rat poison and I'm waiting for this other person to die, and that's obviously that doesn't work. And with that,
Right.
the other thing I would say, and I really love that you said, I'm going to be honest with you, and I want to show honesty. I have a phrase that I actually play in my marriage, and I've been married to Kathy for 48 years, and it's this in my head. Don't say everything you think, okay? There's just some things I've learned over the years that I don't say it. So that doesn't mean that I'm not lying. I just don't say everything I think because, it would be dangerous to crawl into my head sometimes. Well, I would say with your mom, she's looking sometimes for you to say, well, how did you know about this place? And maybe she's thinking there may be an answer. Moms are intuitive. I don't know that you have to tell her every bit of that. So again, it's on the lower shelf. There's cognitive issues. There's other issues, obviously. But, the don't say everything you think with your mom may be a really good suggestion to you, Karen, because if you do say everything, even when she's the one who's eliciting information, you don't have to lie. You just have to say.
Well, in some ways, she's looking for how have you betrayed her, right?
Exactly.
And I would be saying, Mom, I'm so sad that you don't see all the ways we've tried to protect you over the years.
Right.
But,
Now-
Karen, you also have to set these, and you're doing this, set really good boundaries with her.
Yeah.
Mom, I'm just not going to go there with you.
Yeah.
So my question is this to you, Karen. You're very bright and strong. Why can't you just be with her, have a relationship with her that has no expectation? If she becomes angry, you can walk out, you can get in the car, you can leave. Now, if she stepped it up, of course you wouldn't. But I'm just wondering why it is that it's hard for you to just detach all expectations. She has a problem, and it's a mental problem, whether it's whatever it is. She's bitter and angry. And I think she needs you. I think you are a rational, sane person. And I think it would be good to figure out what you might think you need from her, grieve the fact you're not ever going to give it, and then in a detached way be available to her, express love and care for her. So it's not that she's a bad woman. She is a damaged woman. And who knows what all was involved in that divorce and the whole thing. So I want you to be a positive, godly woman resource to her versus I'm stepping back and But if you're vulnerable, if it's going to hurt too much or whatever, I get that. But go resolve that so you can be in relationship with her. Because if she dies in 2 years and you're still not connected, I think you're really going to regret that. But I don't think you can ever expect to be healthily connected with her. She just probably isn't able to do that.
This is an area that she has organized around. It's probably a hill she's going to die on. It doesn't sound like she has gone and gotten the help, right, to really work through it. And so it's growing bigger in her mind. I agree with Jim. I would never mention your father. There's no good.
No reason.
There's no reason to. And that's a way to protect her, right? It's just that's a boundary. Mom, we're not going there. I have separate relationships, and we're not going there.
All right. So I'm glad that you called, and I'm going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back, and it's got a workbook with it. I'll send both of those to you because I want you to be able to be with her but not be a victim of her. And I'm really glad that you called. By the way, any gift of any amount, I'll send you Take Your Life Back. And if there's a $50 gift or more, which we definitely would love to have, we'll send you Take Your Life Back and the workbook. Let's go to Christy, Washington, D.C. She watches us on the YouTube channel that we have. Hey, Christy, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Steve. How are you?
Doing all right. I always am sad for Dr. Jill Hubbard, Dr. Jim Burns is here.
All right. I'm not going to take up a lot of time. I was calling because I have a testimony.
All right, let's hear it.
Is that okay?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I back in '09, I had a partial hysterectomy because I had a tumor the size of a small puppy, and they took the tumor, and I was very scared. I was afraid that they weren't doing what they said they were going to do, and I wanted proof. Like, show me the tumor. I just wanted proof. I don't know why, but I wanted proof.
Okay.
He gave me proof. So
I want you to stop right there,
Long
Christy,
story-
because we got the music going. Can you just hold over and then we'll hear this testimony? Can you do that? Hang on. Great. Sorry, I got my timing off there. All right. If you want to join us.
Steve, this is you, Steve.
Yes? Yes, Christy?
I can't tell my name because of my mother.
Okay. All right. Well, you hold on, and we're going to give you all the time you need to tell whatever you want to tell. We'll be back right after this.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, March 3rd through the 5th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEWLIFE.
I've been listening to New Life for many years, gone to a few workshops. I want to support a ministry that helps people connect with God and with others and gives them the tools to help transform their lives.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Healing, 100 Days from Freedom from Shame, and 100 Days of Freedom from Anger. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Stephen Arterburn here with Dr. Jim Burns and Dr. Jill Hubbard. And you can join us simply by calling 1-800-229-3000. And we love hearing what you're struggling with and trying to give you some insight. A lot of times you go to a therapist and they want you to figure it out. So you pay for 8 sessions. And then finally you go, oh, I got this. Why couldn't you have told me this in the beginning? All right. So anyway, but we're here with Christy.
Sometimes we do.
Yeah. Okay. Christy, hi. And tell us, you were way back in the 90s, I think, weren't you, when you were talking? Or did that how it started? Was that the year?
Probably so. Don't worry about it. A lot's going on.
All right.
I wanted to tell you how God had healed me.
Oh, let's hear.
I wanted to tell you how God healed me. I had a tumor, and they measured the tumor, told me it was a lesion that looked like a tumor. They told me I needed to go follow up with my doctor. Everybody was praying for me. I didn't tell a whole lot of people because some people say they prayed, but they're not praying.
Yeah,
or
right.
They're wishing the worst on you.
Right.
Okay. They're like, God, kill her. But so anyway, I went back to the doctor. They put a vaginal ultrasound. And I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but it's simple. It just goes in the vagina, and they take an image of what's up there, what's all around there, and then they did it on the top. And so do you know I went to the doctor in the little room? He goes, there's nothing there.
Wow.
He said, I don't know what they saw, but there's nothing there. You are fine. You
Oh,
don't
my
have
goodness.
anything to worry about.
Wow.
I was like, what? What? But I believe God. I have the faith the size of a mustard seed. I have been through so much trauma in my life. I'm talking about from a baby. I'm talking trauma. Like, I'm just a classic. If you see trauma patient in the dictionary, put my picture beside it because I am that person.
I love it.
I have been through so much trauma that I can write 10 books, 50 books. And really, I don't even want to write them, Steve. I want to do them audio because I have so much to say. And I just don't have the attention span because I've lost so many family members to different things that I can't concentrate enough I can write, but I don't know if I have the patience or the energy to get these books done just by me writing it.
Well, it'd sure be great if you could record some of this, because you've got to have some wisdom that others could use, because they're going to go through it too, or they're going through it. Yeah.
Well, and God doesn't waste anything, Christy, right?
Right.
So he will.
But I want to thank you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just saying he will use your story, and I think you know that.
Yes, I do. I know.
Yeah.
I accepted my call to ministry, women's ministry, on last Friday by myself with my friend that I met at emotional healing workshop. Her name is Katia. And Katia is a wonderful woman God sent into my life. She's younger than me, right? And she's believing God for a baby. And I told her, God's going to give you a baby, Katia. You just keep your faith. You just keep trusting God and keep doing the next right thing. And God will bless you, Katia. I said, I don't know how. I'm not saying it's going to be vaginal. I'm not saying it's cesarean. But God is going to give you a baby. And not only one, but he may give her more than one, because she's a teacher. I said, baby, God's not going to leave you barren, and you're a teacher and you love children. So, but I met Katya at the Emotional Freedom Workshop, and you guys sponsored me because I've been going through so much racial problems, so much because I speak out and I'm an advocate for children. And so because I'm an advocate, I take that very seriously. If they can't speak for themselves, I need to be that voice. And so that's what I do.
Let me ask you a question.
2 different lawsuits. Go ahead.
No, you've got two lawsuits on what?
Yes, they're trying to fire me. Like, these places are trying to get rid of me because I'll tell the truth. I'll say you're abusive. That's abusive. What you're doing is abusive. Your behavior is abusive. Your body language is abusive. Your eyes are abusive right now.
Okay.
Because
now,
you can abuse somebody more than one way.
All right. So I want to ask you specifically, you've gone through a lot. You went to Emotional Freedom.
Yes.
Tell us 2 things that you've learned that might help somebody else. Just 2 things.
First of all, it depends. It depends because I know how to exit a violent situation. When I was 21 years old, I was a hotline caller, and back then we had beepers, and y'all probably too young to even know what a beeper is.
I used to carry one.
Like a paper.
I used to carry a beeper.
You're too young.
No, it's not true.
No, you're too young.
I was head of the.
To flatter you, Steve.
I know. Well, I appreciate that. But
thank you.
I was one of those guys that had to carry it because I was in charge of a drug and alcohol treatment center, and I had to be called in the middle of the night. So it was a beeper and then you go to your landline and call in. Anyway, what have you learned? What have you learned?
I've learned so much, Stephen. Steve, you met me when you came to Redeemer in Gaithersburg. Pastor Dale in Gaithersburg. You met me then.
Awesome.
You remember?
Yeah, I remember Dale and Gaithersburg. I was expecting to meet Bill and Gloria Gaither there, and so no, but it's a different kind of Gaithersburg. Yeah, it was a great experience for me there. All right, well, hold on. Here's another break. Hold on. We're going to hear more after this about what you have specifically learned, and that's going to be valuable, I think. 1-800-229-3000. That's our phone number, 1-800-229-3000. Dr. Jill Hubbard has written this amazing book, Forgiving Our Fathers and Mothers, which would be great for adult children to read. And Jim Burns has written Doing Life with Our Adult Children, which would be great for the adults to read who need to be forgiven by those kids who are supposed to be adults. And if you think you're alone in this quandary, you are not. It is so, so common. We'll be back after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and we're just finishing up with Christy here. And Christy, I asked you to tell us about 2 things that you've learned on this amazing journey you've been on. And so could you do that for us?
I can. Can you be a little bit more specific? Because I work with adults and children with disabilities, and I work with the school system. So can you be a little bit more specific? And I'm also a behavioral therapist.
What about from the Emotional Freedom Workshop, Steve?
Yeah, that would be good. If somebody asked me what's a piece of wisdom for marriage, I'd say lower your expectation. That's something I've learned, because you can't go wrong, and so many people have unrealistic expectations. Is there anything like that you've learned recently or could help somebody with?
Yes,
no matter where it came from.
I think more than anything, don't have expectations of people.
There you go. Okay.
Never have expectations of people because they will let you down.
Yeah.
You'll be let down so bad. You'll be your tail, just like a dog with his tail between his legs. You'll be walking around with your head down, expecting everybody to do something. And people are human, and they're not angels. They're humans.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And here's the thing.
Expectations.
If you have expectations of another person, then you're more focused on a result that may never happen versus the relationship. And so many people are looking for a result versus let's deepen the relationship. So I like that very, very much. Yeah.
Okay, and what I wanted to say is not even so much the expectations, because expectations can be healthy when you have boundaries. Like, I expect people to be on time for work. I expect you to teach if you're a teacher. I expect you to sing if you're a singer. I expect you to do therapy if you're a therapist. So I don't think there's anything wrong. There's a difference between expectations and standards and ethics. All those things that kind of, it's a gray area, but I have expectations, and people don't like that. They think, one person told me, your expectations are higher than God's. And I was like, what? No, they're not. I just expect you to be honest, especially if you're my friend, because you can look at a person's friends and tell who they are. You can look at the person's company that they keep, and you can tell exactly who they are.
Well, I am glad you called.
Said
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Maya Angelou said, when someone tells you who they are, believe them.
Yeah, very, very good. All right. Well, Christy, I'm going to send you a copy of the Bible that Misty produced, the One Year Bible for Women that I read from today, and I hope that's a blessing to you. I think you've been a blessing to other people today. 1-800-229-3000 is the phone number. Let's talk with John. And John's calling from Toronto, Canada, and listens on the app. John, welcome, and so glad you've joined us here today. How could we help you?
Thank you, Steve. It's been an honor. It's an honor to speak to you. I've been listening to your show for a long time. The problem that I'm facing is my wife is exhibiting symptoms of paranoid personality disorder. She keeps suspecting that I'm having affairs, that I'm not having affairs. If I speak to my sister, for example, she'll say that, oh, your sister is asking to divorce me. She thinks I'm hacking her phone, looking at her phone, which I'm not doing. And she doesn't see that this is a problem. If I bring it to her, she's very argumentative, and then she'll say that I have a problem. She doesn't have a problem. Now, on a side note, her father had an affair when she was younger, and her mom is the same way.
Okay.
She thinks that everybody's out to get her.
Now, have you done anything that was difficult for her to overcome? Or have you been totally faithful, or did she catch you doing something? Tell us about that.
No, 100% faithful. I've not
Awesome.
done anything, but this has been going on for like the last 25 years.
Yeah, okay.
From year one, it has been like that.
I'm so grateful that she married somebody who would be faithful to her and not just another example of someone to fear. It's very, very common that a woman might fear this man, and then the man lives into it, and I'm glad that you haven't. So what is the question for us?
How do I deal with this? I'm at a loss because trying to bring it to her attention has not helped, because she says there's a problem with me, and she thinks there's nothing wrong in what she's doing, because in her mind it's all there, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what to do.
Well, I'm really glad you called, because we're going to help you here. And Jill,
well, John, I'm so sorry for you. This is a hard role to be in, where you are on the receiving end of all that she was taught growing up. Right? It's a learned behavior from mother, but it's backed up with evidence of some wrongdoing actually having happened, right? And so as a little girl, she learned to be hypervigilant and to not trust men from her father. And so often, I mean, when we marry someone, we have to be aware we're marrying the parts of them that are like their parents too, right? And when you are the significant other, then you receive a lot of the transference from the past, things that get projected onto you. So it's normal human reaction to want to defend that and say, no, I'm not doing that. You've got to believe me. And when you go into defending mode, I think you miss her, because she's not going to hear those words of you trying to convince her that you're a good guy. I think you have to lean in and address her original hurt and say, sweetheart, tell me what it was like for you as a little girl, having to worry about your dad and having your mom so scared. Tell me what that was like. And then you also want to ask her what she wants more of with you. And usually when that ideation stirs up, a woman is often feeling disconnected emotionally. And so even if you feel like you've done all these things to be there with her, there's a disconnect on her side. And so you want to lean into the relationship and talk about connecting more with her. How can we be more emotionally connected? What do you need from me right now so that you know that I'm here with you?
And doesn't hurt at the right moment when she tells you about her childhood that you would say in a really compassionate way, well, I sure understand why you would have such a hard time trusting me or believing the best about me, and it really helps me to hear your heart, and just leave it at that in that interchange. But she can be different. She can get help for this and not have to have this painful. She's in protective mode.
Yes.
That's what all the paranoia is, and she needs to get that resolved. Jim, what are you thinking here?
Well, I do two things, John. And first of all, let me say, you're amazing. You've just spent all of these years being faithful to your wife, being committed. You've done what you're to do, and way to go. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't do that. They'd walk. And I just really appreciate your commitment. But I do two things. One is I would go get some help and teaching and learning. It's what you're asking today. You're talking to us. We'll talk to you for 5 minutes and we'll move on. But there's people in your area who could help you walk through this, and you get the kind of coaching you need. For example, I have a personal trainer because I'm trying to lose a little weight and fix it up. And I read stuff, but what I need to do is have this coach help me do what I do, and he kind of holds me accountable, right? So I think you find that in that because your wife said you have a problem. So then you say, you know what? I've been with my counselor, I've been with my coach here, and now what they're saying is maybe it would be good for us to communicate. And now you're going to bring her in because she really does need an assessment. And frankly, when Jill said lean into some of her hurt from the past, the counselor can also do that. Then you don't have to be the counselor; you can be the husband, and you still have to be empathetic in everything that she said. But what she needs is counseling, and she doesn't think she does. It sounds like. So again, you take the lead. A lot of times, people will follow once really the healthiest person takes the lead. So take the lead and go get some help, go get some coaching on this, and then see if you can't bring her along to get an assessment that can help her really, come to wholeness. I love this phrase. Good thing Easter is not just one day, but a season, because some miracles take time, and this is a process that can help greatly.
Yeah. So I would be deep in prayer for her and deep in prayer for yourself. What was that? What's the question?
And counseling will help, you think?
Yes, because I go to counseling because it helps me. It helps us, me and my wife. And anytime someone's questioning whether they need counseling, I'd say it's about a 98% chance that it would benefit you greatly. You don't get counseling right before you flip out and go crazy and need to be in a mental institution. You get counseling because you want a better life. And if you want a better life, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll be back after this.
We have been estranged off and on for 10 years or more, and he has a lot of grievances and anger and bitterness and hatred toward me.
Our daughter is the problem. She said, I don't want to be in your life right now.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Courageous Parents, Transforming Relationships with Your Adult Sons and Daughters. It's an online workshop with Dr. Jim Burns, Dr. Jill Hubbard, and me. I think it will change the way you see your adult children.
I was never prepared for doing life with my adult children. Some of our kids bumped and violated values that we never dreamed they would, and there's some principles that we can talk about.
With insightful teaching and the guidance of a credentialed New Life counselor, this one-day online workshop, Saturday, April 1st, will provide practical advice and hopeful encouragement for navigating the parent-adult-child relationship. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back, and if we have his address, I want to send him every man's Bible. And, you know, it shouldn't be a mystery whether or not counseling could help you, especially in a situation like we were just dealing with. It's that third party that can say things and perhaps be heard when no one's going to listen to us because they think we're the enemy or something like that.
Well, right, and you also have a certain dance and rhythm, and it's the same thing over and over again, but somebody else can say it differently.
Right.
And kind of get in the side door.
And this is an example of vows and conclusions. We vow, I will never trust a man because look at that. Or a conclusion, all men are. And see, that's not responding to God, that's reacting to a person here on earth, and that's no way to live, no way at all. So I really am glad that he called. And now, if you want to join us, 1-800-229-3000. I'm going to go to Mary May from Rough and Ready, California. Really? Listens on the app. Hi, Mary May. How are you today?
Well, if I was good, I wouldn't be calling.
Exactly. Thank you for that little dose of reality right there. Thank you. How could we help you, though?
Well, it's very rough to get me ready, that's for sure. And
okay.
I think that's why God put me here. So what I want to know from you all is about attachment theory and PTSD.
Okay. Yeah, because really, a lot of people that say, don't look back, it does no good to look back, just keep pressing forward, don't live in the past, all that. They don't want to hear about how they might have been impacted by their childhood and whether or not it was secure or insecure or chaotic or whatever. Jill, you want to just
Sure.
Sure.
Well, Mary, basically with attachment theory, it's that our first relationships, our primary relationships are with mom and dad. Those are the people that bring us into the world and who we connect with. And so based on how those relationships are, it sets kind of the blueprint or the imprint of how future relationships will be. So unless we are intentional and we're really looking at that, we will then continue on as we started. And so while being securely attached would be wonderful, there is a smaller percentage of people who are securely attached than having the other attachment styles. And so people can be very anxious in their attachment, and if you've had a parent that is anxious or has intermittent connection or is emotionally unavailable, you draw conclusions. And children are egocentric, and so they think everything is because of them, right? That's just where they're at in their development. And so as mom and dad relate to them, they're going to respond accordingly. And so we take those attachment styles into our adult relationships. And based on that, we then have issues as a result. And then certainly you're mentioning PTSD. Well, there are traumatic things that happen in life, right? There can be specific big things that people recognize as, definite trauma, but there's also cumulative trauma, which are those little misattunements of not being seen or heard throughout life. And that's where I find a lot of Christians that say, why am I depressed? Why am I anxious? Well, when you feel like as a child growing up you were constantly missed, you sometimes develop those things as a result.
Yeah, Jim, you have a thought
No,
here?
you know, I love what you said, Jill. I'm taking notes on you. I mean, that was really good. Mary May, there's another part of attachment that's always interesting to me, working with adult children and their parents. And that's what Henry Cloud called, well, other people have called it too, individuation, which means they are so attached to their parents that they need to be released so that they can become themselves and become responsible adults. And a lot of parents actually enable dependency because and it's a really weird way of doing this, but you're enabling dependency because the parents still need attachment.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you're talking about that, Mary May, but I do think that that's an important one to bring up because a lot of times we think of only attachment the way you were talking, Joe.
Right.
You know, so
right. But here's the thing. When we don't get enough of what we need, so when the parents are actually afraid of dependency, and in our Western culture we often are, and we try to push kids out sooner than they're ready, then they stay dependent longer.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
It is.
And you can really foster that versus foster dependency. I'm going to send you How We Love. It is the basis of our marriage intensive. I think it's easy to understand. I know that because I understood it when I read it. So we'll send that to you. And anybody else, you can get that at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Before I close out the program, I want to read you a verse that so many parts of the Bible people say are confusing. This is not confusing. And if this is the only verse you had out of the Bible, it would really lead you to a better life. And here it is. It's Colossians 3:12. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved. Now that's huge right there. To know I'm chosen, I'm loved by God, and dearly loved. It says this, so clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. There's not one place in there where it says anger, bitterness, fear, terror. No, it says clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Listen to this. Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. It could be a grievance against someone. It could be a grievance you have against yourself that you've never forgiven yourself, and let go of it and trust God with it. There's no more powerful step in life than to let go and surrender. It's unbelievable. You don't just let go of things, but you surrender them to God, and He does what you simply don't have the power to do. If you need help, you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Any gift, I'll send you Take Your Life Back. It is a path to independence of others and dependence on God. And then if you give a gift of $50 or more, I will send you the workbook that goes along with it. Also, if you join Club New Life at $35 a month, we'll send you a little library of 100-day devotionals on fear, character, prayer, things that matter. I think it's worth about $100 or a little bit more than $100. And that 8 books, all for you, our way of saying thank you. We have so many great things coming up, and Every Man's Battle is going to be March the 31st, and Lose It for Life is coming up on March the 18th. This isn't so much about losing weight, it's about keeping weight off because we deal with the it. Lose it for life. See, you've got to deal with the stuff underneath the stuff. And if you don't, just life continues to be difficult, hard, and it doesn't have to be. If you want to join us on the next program, 1-800-229-3000. We love you. We care about you. I love Jim and Jill, and I'm going to do another program with them, and you can join us too. Call us if you need us, and if you can help us with a gift, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.